Well, what about McTominay? Because he was heavily linked with a move, wasn't it, West Ham, in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get that you love Manchester United. I've always said Scott McTominay is 110%, wears his heart on his sleeve. He's not a Manchester United player. Oh. If you look at the midfield players that have gone past at Manchester United, yet we're talking about Scholes, we're talking about Paul Ince, we're talking about Roy Keane, we're talking about that. He gets up and down, he gives 100%. He's not a Manchester United quality midfield
what
player.
Is a Manchester United midfielder, though? It's a different era.
No, well, I think but that's how far Manchester United have gone back. I mean, we're not talking about Manchester United going on to win the league. We're talking about them grappling to finish in a Champions League spot.
But even even when Paul Scholes played with Roy Keane, they still had Darren Fletcher. They still had John O'Shea.
No, Darren Fletcher.
They had squad players. I think Scott McTominay knows that he's not Paul Scholes. Yeah. But what he does know is that he's going to give his heart and soul for the football club.
Darren
and he knows that he's good enough to be in a Man United squad. All right, he might not play. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, come on, Jamie. That is the problem with the game today. That really is the problem with the game today.
He's come on and scored the winner today against Aston Villa.
No, he's come on and scored the winner. But
he's done it 3 or 4 times this season.
If you wake up on the morning of a football game, Jamie, you tell me, Gabby, you wake up on a Saturday morning of a football game and you're a professional footballer and you're happy sitting on the bench.
Of course he's not happy, but he's also playing for Manchester United.
No, still,
he's playing for Man United. What's he want to go and play for West Ham for when he can go when he's in Man United's squad week in, week out?
So that's
coming on. He might not play every week, but he's the first or second substitute every single game.
Well, if that's
he's
your
playing for Manchester United, the biggest club in the world.
If that's your mindset, I wouldn't want you alongside me playing in my team. I wouldn't want you in my squad. If that's your mindset, I want players who want to play.
He wants to play.
Well, but he's not going to play at Manchester United.
But he does play.
Well,
he's played a lot of games this season, and he's come on today and scored the winner.
If everybody's fit at Manchester United, he doesn't play. So for me, I don't understand players. I really do not understand players. You know, when I sit down, I said to my missus the other day, do you know the opening day of the season? The opening day of the season. And you're a professional footballer and you are not selected, right? There's not been selected and, OK, you might not be playing well and you want to battle to get your place back, right? I'll say the same about Harry Maguire. I don't believe, first and foremost for me, and money doesn't come into it, if the manager starts playing every man and his dog ahead of me, including their left back at centre-back, gaffer, I'm off. Right? It's as simple as it is. You want players, yes, you've got to have squad players, but the squad players you look at and you think, right, OK, if he's content to stay there and be a squad player, but even then... It's
not about being content, though, Carlton, because you talk about Harry Maguire and you say, I'm off. Yeah. Well, Harry Maguire's back playing for Man United week in, week out because he's shown character and turned around and said, actually, no, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to fight for my place.
You're saying he's playing week in, week in. That's his first game today in 2 months. Or his second start in 2 months,
well,
right?
he was playing, but then he got injured.
And then he picked up an injury.
So that was by no fault of his.
But at the end of the day...
You've got to have belief in yourself.
No, you've got to have belief.
But Scott McTominay obviously believes that he's good enough to play for Man United.
You know what, though?
Do you believe he's good enough to play for Man United?
Yes, I do.
Week in, week out.
Not every game. Not every game.
If they want to win the league title...
He's a really good squad player.
If they wanted to win the league title, would Scott McTominay be in
Ole
your
Gunnar
side?
Solskjaer didn't play every week for Manchester United, and he won the league and become the manager of Manchester United.
Adam, for me, as a player... I would love to play. I would want to be playing week in, week out, not off the bench. But I see Jamie's point of, like, McTominay's he's at Manchester United. You know, the way he speaks after games. You see his interview there. Oh, you know, I'll do anything for this side when called upon. That's his choice. You know, he might look back when he retires and say, you know what? You know, I could have played 100 more games if I'd gone to a lesser club. But he might think to himself, my dream was to play at Manchester United. Play 200 games at Manchester United.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's up to him.
I
would want to play week in, week out.
That's fine if he chooses
when the season starts, if I wasn't in that first team and the season starts, everyone's fit, I'd be fuming. What's wrong with me? Am I good enough?
You'd still have the belief to think you can get it.
I'm going to ask you a question now, right? Answer me this truthfully now.
Go on.
Do you think Harry Maguire stayed at Man United because he knowing what the manager's done to him, right, which I thought was a little bit disrespectful, right? Do you think Harry Maguire stayed at Manchester United fully believing that he's got to prove people wrong, or did he stay at Manchester United because of his contract?
I think he stayed at Manchester United because I think in the end he believed he could get back in the team. He's always backed himself with England and Manchester United, and I think he was looking at Manchester United's performances and they were really bad. The players at the back were struggling, there was injuries in the squad, and Maguire believed that he could get back in the team, and he's done that.
But when a manager disrespects you by playing every man, and he did play every man and his dog above Maguire, he only put Maguire back in because he had no choice. Then Maguire, with his character, which I will give him kudos for, he's shown great character, he's shown great strength, and he's been supported really well by Gareth Southgate, and he's not let Gareth down. But when a manager does that to you, right, I've got to go and play somewhere else. Credit to him, but I believe that
But then you're throwing in the towel then.
No, but you're not throwing in the towel.
But you are, because you're saying to the manager, oh, you're not picking me, I'm off. I don't want to fight for my place.
If you're a good player, when George Graham, when I was at Leeds United...
there's loads of good players. There's got 20 players in the squad.
But when I was at Leeds United, I was a regular before George Graham came to the side. I've been a regular at every football club. I knew he was a good player. George Graham came into the football club the first day and said to me, Carlton, you will not play for me. I said to him, right, OK, no problem, let me go. Do you know what he said to me? He said, Carlton, you can go, but go and play in the Championship. He said to me, you can't go to a club. Everton were in for me, West Ham were in for me. He said, you're not going to go to a club where you embarrass me.
But that's the manager. I don't think Ten Hag's doing that to Harry Maguire.
I think, let me tell you, if Harry would wanted to go, Ten Hag would have let him go.
You know what, going back to McTominay though, I don't think McTominay is the character to go and knock on the manager's door and kick off, well, I'm not playing. Even scoring a winner today, I don't think tomorrow he's going in and saying, oh, I need to start next game. But that's his choice. He loves Manchester United. He's happy to, you know, be a big part player, get his chance when he can, start a few games. That's up to him. He loves Man United. Me personally, I'm sure Jamie will be the same, and Carlton. You'd want to be playing every week? Of course you would.
Yeah, there's a difference between staying at a football club when you're out of favour. When I went to Leeds United, the midfield was Speed, McAllister, Batty and Straka, right? So I went there knowing that I wasn't going to be a first-team regular, but I backed myself to get in the side. The manager paid a lot of money for me, so he also believed in me. So I wasn't going there thinking, all right, if I'm out the team, right, I've got to work hard, I've got to show the right attitude, show the right character, I'm going to get back in the side. If I get in the side, then I'll get my first-team place, right? That's a different story by backing yourself and going there. But when a manager clearly doesn't want you, like in Maguire's case, the manager doesn't want Maguire. That is clear. So something will happen somewhere along the line with Maguire. Maguire, I believe, stayed because of his contract situation, right? It's different now. I look at McTominay, and you need squad players. But and I understand that, but I would only be a squad player if I was a young player. If you're a Scottish international like McTominay, you want to play first-team football, it's all right saying you're in love at Manchester United. What are you going to say? I love Manchester United, and I sit down at the end of his career, but I've only played X amount of games in a bit part player.
No, he's going to say at the end of the game, how many goals have I scored in the last minutes of games when I've come off the bench and won the game for Manchester United? Like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did. No, Scott McTominay does that. He might not play every week, but he comes on and he makes an impact for his team. He loves playing for Manchester United, and he scored a massive goal today that gets them 3 points. I think... you know, let me just say this, Carlton. Yeah. Manchester United are the biggest club in the world, right? He's playing for the biggest club in the world. If he leaves Scott McTominay because he thinks, I want to play week in, week out, and he goes to West Ham, like Calvin Phillips has just done, Calvin Phillips is sat on the bench at West Ham now. You can leave a top club and you go and play for a lesser club, and all of a sudden your career goes down and down and down. It is almost impossible to play for a big team. Well, listen, for a big team. Well, let me tell he's at a big team and he makes an impact for his side.
Well, hang on a minute. When you talk about Calvin Phillips, right, and I'm a big Calvin Phillips supporter, I watch Leeds United a lot. Let me tell you, Calvin Phillips should not have gone to Manchester City in the first place. If you're Calvin Phillips, when you're making that decision, you know you're not going to play. If you look at Calvin Phillips' record and his resume of the games he's played, his team, his people who looked after him have gone there and said, you know what, you don't play a lot of football, let's look after you financially. He's not played enough games, so he's gone to West Ham. He's struggling now for fitness-wise. That's why he's not going to get game time.
What club would you go to if you're McTominay now? What club would you say to your agent want to go to?
I'll tell you where it started. I believe West Ham were in for him. I think that would have been a good club for him to go to. I think he needs...
He just got beat 6-0 today by Arsenal.
Oh, listen, but they're in the top 6. They're in the top 6.
He's playing for Man United.
Well, listen, Jamie, I understand, and this is where probably mine and your mentality changes, right? Or the mentality of players who want to win things, right? I go to a football club. When I go to a football club, I want to win matches. I want to win league titles. I want to win cups. If you've got the mentality...
Well, if you sign from West Ham, you're not going to do that. He's at Manchester United.
What do you mean? You're saying West Ham? West Ham won a trophy last season.
Yeah, but Man United, he's got more chance of winning something at Manchester United and being part of a massive football club. Just because he's not going to play week in, week out. He, you know, look, maybe I don't know what mentality you're going on about. I want to win things as well. I played for Tottenham with great sides and we won trophies. But at the end of the day, if you want to win things, you want to be at the best team. Scott McTominay will look at him and back himself to be playing for Manchester United week in, week out. All right, he might not play every week, but he's coming off the bench and scoring important goals.
If everybody was fit...
He's not Paul Scholes.
But if everybody was fit... And he's not Roy
Keane, but he's good enough because he's shown it.
Not what you're saying. He's good enough to play for Manchester United. In my opinion, he's not good enough to play in Manchester United's team if Manchester United want to win the league title. But he's not good enough.
Let me just jump in here because I want to ask someone who's decided not to leave his club.
Yeah.
You made a move, but you never left Villa. You stayed there. You were one of, if not at one point, the fastest player in the Premier League. You would have had opportunities. I'm certain of it.
You know the difference for me when I was at Villa? The teams that were interested in me at that time were on par with Villa. We were both fighting for top 4. It was Spurs, it was Arsenal. During that era under Martin O'Neill, we were all fighting for top 4.
You could have gone to... But Arsenal, all due respect, I know you love Villa, I know you're from the area, I know it is your club, but when you come out here, you've seen the Arsenal jersey.
Listen, you know? Of course, when I look back and I was saying, you know what? I loved Aston Villa. Been in the academy since a kid. Big club, you know, top manager under Martin O'Neill. I didn't see myself ever playing for anyone else. I was like, Aston Villa only, Aston Villa only. When there was talk of Arsenal, when there was talk about Spurs as well, I was like, no, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. Would I went on and won trophies at Arsenal, Spurs? Probably, especially Arsenal. Maybe that's something you look back in when you're older and you say, you know what, was that the right decision? But at the time, I was like, Villa, 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 Villa. That was my choice then. But everyone's got their different choices. Jamie might have one opinion. I understand Carlton's opinion as well. McTominay might go to another club and, you know, start every week.
But how do you look back in your career when at those sliding doors moments? Because this is what we're referencing now when he looks back in his time as a footballer. Because it is a very short career. It'll last you 10, 15, 20 years.
You see, for me, though, I've got no regrets because I've played at a club with a big history. You know, one of the best players in the team for many years. Was getting into England squads, England caps, playing in that team. Why would I leave? Spurs at that time, Pavlyuchenko, Crouch, Defoe, Bent, Berbatov. I would have went to a team maybe where I wouldn't have been starting every week, to a team at Aston Villa, playing every week, first name on the team sheet. So for me at that time, it didn't seem like the right thing to do to move.
Yeah, but Gabby, you're saying you're playing. That's a different ball game.
Yeah, I was playing every week.
And you were a top player at Aston Villa. So you're playing. It's a different ball game. Yeah. And this is the mentality. Listen, and I'm not having a go at McTominay. If he wants to sit there and not play every week, right, which if everybody's fit at Manchester United, he will not play every week. And if he wants to, that's his choice. What I'm saying is, as a mentality of a footballer, you should want to play every week, right? Not all of us can play every week. If you're at a football club and you're left out the team because you're not playing well, then I'm not saying throw your dolls out the pram and you want to leave. You get your head down, you work hard and you try and get your place back. But if you're not going to play at a football club and you're happy to sit on the bench, that says a lot about you as a person to me. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. But that says a lot to me. Yeah. It's not something that sits well with me. I want players who want to play, right? You look at Phil Foden, I guarantee you now, if he didn't start more games this season for Manchester City, he would have gone. Cole Palmer, gone to Chelsea. Of course he wanted to stay at Man City, but he knew he wasn't going to play.
Yeah, that's a fair point as well.
I disagree. I understand what Carlton's trying to say. We all want to play. Everyone wants to play. You want to be the first name on the team sheet. We all grow up. You want to play week in, week out. But you have a squad of 25. There's games week in, you know, you have a game on a Saturday, you have a game on a Tuesday. There's a lot of games to be played. Manchester United every season play a lot of football matches. Of course, Scott McTominay wants to play, but he also understands that he's an important role in the team, and it might be off the bench, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like Hernandez used to do with Ferguson. He'd come off the bench and still be a massive part of the team. I think personally, Scott McTominay thinks he's good enough to start for Manchester United. Whether he plays and Ten Hag picks him, that's down to the manager. The manager might not pick you every week, but he believes he's good enough, and that's why he's at Manchester United, and he's at a huge football club. Why would he leave West Ham? Why would he leave Manchester United and go and play for West Ham? When he comes off the bench, he might play 1 in 2, might play 1 in 3, but he's coming on and he's making a difference in big football matches.
Jamie.
We have to end things really soon, but I will say we never know how long a manager will stay at a club. We know how volatile that position can be. I mean, even Gabby's talking about being a regular for Villa. Remy Gard probably didn't play you that often either. Course, so, but you stayed. You fought for your place.
Because of the contract.
Well, that helps. That helps tremendously.
I'm joking.
No, but Gabby, you might laugh about that. In the modern day game now, I know so many players who do it, Gabby.
Short career.
I know so many players who do it, and
Scott McTominay's not one of them, though.
No, I'm not. No,
he's not staying there for the contract.
No, listen.
He's staying there because he thinks he's good enough.
Listen, and I'm not having a go at Scott McTominay here. What I'm saying to you is 110%. When he goes on the pitch, he gives everything. He gives his 100% for Manchester United, and he's committed to them. What I have a problem with, right, me personally, if he wants to do that, fine. What I have a problem with is if you know you're not going to play every week if everybody's fit, and you have such a short career, right, as much as you want to play for Manchester United, it's not when you finish your footballing career, do you know what you do? You sit back and you look at what you've achieved, I'll tell you now, and this is the God's honest truth, I was at Sheffield Wednesday, we won the Carling Cup in 1991. And to this day, I've never opened that medal. And I played in every round, but I was suspended and never played in the final. And I was pleased for the lads, I was pleased for the club. I never played. So I've never opened the medal.